We continue our knowledge sharing mission through a series of interviews with executive leaders from all over the world and are thrilled to have Kiko with us today.
I'm Francisco Castillo, known as Kiko for short. I'm currently Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer of Maynilad Water Services. Maynilad Water is actually a water and wastewater utility in the Philippines. We're in fact the biggest water company here in the Philippines.
Can you describe the role of a CIO in one word and why?
Strategic. I think it's probably more apparent today, but it has been happening over the years, that I think more and more businesses need to think of technology as an integral part of their business in what they do. And that means that suddenly, and I think the pandemic actually accelerated this, now the technology is really not an afterthought, but it's really something that is really strategic for the company in order for them to survive and thrive.
What current challenges are CIOs facing right now, and can you identify a solution?
There are many challenges, but maybe the ones that come to mind is, number one, something that I think everybody can relate, all CIOs, is IT security. And even more so that we're working from home because you're not behind your company firewall and all those protections that you commonly have. So now you're in the house, you have a simple router, and you're more exposed. So working from home has had its challenges, and we've seen it. We've seen the number of attacks, we've seen the rise in interest in security. How do we address that? Well, it's like a cat and mouse game. You can't relax because as you put in more technology, more policies attuned to the situation, governance, the bad guys also change. And so you'd never stop. You need to continuously update, you need to continuously tweak and read because you need to be aware of what's happening. The second challenge that I would mention is getting good system integrators. No matter how good a particular product is, you need the people to implement that. And that is a challenge many times because companies are good at marketing and selling, but when it comes to the real nitty-gritty of implementing, that's another story. So the way we address that is we think long-term partnerships. We can't think of just transactional. We try to work really with partners and develop them so that they know the way we work, the procedures, the process, the policies, and also encourage them to continue investing in their skills because for us, it's a long-term relationship with a few select vendors, I would say. That's the way we address it.
How can you see your role evolving in the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, I would say it's more of the same, but it's more and more of the same. We said that CIO is becoming more strategic. It will be even more so, right? There's no part in the business, traditionally brick and mortar, and the small businesses would say, we're kind of immune to technology, but you aren't, right? I mean, if you have a retail shop right now and you're not online, you have a big problem because definitely you're going to see a huge decrease in customers. So it's actually going to be even more visible for good and for bad, depending on how you look at it. It's even going to be more in demand. It's going to be more visible to the board as well as to the management. And more, those companies that will thrive are those that take into account technology from the very start, not just as an afterthought. And I'm seeing it happen. So I would say it's more and more of that in the future.
What career advice would you like to share with other CIOs?
I'm the author of this book called Managing Information Technology. And in answering your question, I refer to this book because a lot of the details are there. So my advice to CIOs is that what is really important as a CIO, it's putting in the right processes, putting the right governance, putting the right mechanisms to make projects and operations smooth in terms of the whole IT organization. That is really the most important. The technology part changes very rapid, but those good practices in terms of project management, operations management, governance, they actually haven't changed that much over the last 20 plus years. And so don't think that just because AI comes in or machine learning comes in, you got to throw whatever you've done. It's very important that the structure, the mechanism, the table of organization even, which is commonly a big mistake, and the processes behind that are properly designed. So even when a new technology comes in, you can easily adapt it and digitize your business and move forward. So don't fall in love only with the technology. It's very important to get the whole structure and processes around them correctly. And that's what my book talks about.
So
Okay.
I think this brings us to a close. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Kiko, and I'm looking forward to the next catch up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you as well.